Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I am sharing some of the new Waffle Flower products for their June Rainbow Everything release, and I am so excited because you all know how much I love rainbows. This is a fabulous release filled with stamps, dies, and stencils. And if there's anything that goes perfectly with rainbows, it has to be unicorns. To start out each card in this video, I'm going to share the products that I used from this new Everything Rainbow release. Wait till the end of the video because I am creating a card with one of last month's release that I had to have. It's the Social Phone Die. But I'm going to combine it with a couple of things from the latest release as well. So let's jump right into making some cards with this awesome new Waffle Flower release. I'm going to start out by using the Outline Clouds die. This new die cuts out an outline of a grouping of clouds, but it also cuts out the inside of the clouds that you can use as embellishments or combine it with the outline as well. This is the Imagine Sheer Shimmer Spray. Now I'm going to be honest with you, you have to really shake this up to get all that shimmer in there, and then on camera it is very hard to see. So I really didn't get a good shot of it, but in reality, it looks very shiny and shimmery. This is the new Duotone Stars stencil. So you can see that there are stars that are cut out and then there are outlines so that you can get two different colors from one stencil. And the benefit of that is that then you don't have to pay as much money because you're only buying one stencil. So the 2-pack stencils usually cost not quite double what a one stencil would be, but definitely a significantly more than one stencil. This is such a great idea. You can either shift the stencil over so that you line up the outline with the first color of ink, or you can clean it off and flip it over. So if you're doing like a 6x6 and you want it to line up perfectly with the stencil, just flip it over and then you'll have the second color next to the first. This is the new Unicorns combo. There's a stamp set, matching dies that cuts out everything in the stamp set, even the tiniest little stars and hearts, and there is a stencil. So I am stamping all of the unicorns and some of the little hearts and stars. So I'm using my Debbie tool to get good even pressure. The only reason I missed the top of that unicorn was because of my magnet was kind of in the way, but I really love getting everything stamped out at once so I can figure out which ones I want to color, or just use some very basic Copic marker coloring to color these in to match the ink colors that I used in the stencil. So in the stencil, I used Salvage Patina and Squeeze Lemonade. So I tried to use some light blues and a bright yellow to match what I had going on the ink blending stencil in the back. Now I'm just going to adhere that panel, which I cut down to about 4 by 5.25, onto a background of cardstock that is an A2 size, but I'm going horizontal this time instead of vertical. I'm going to use that same tape runner on this outline. Now, normally I wouldn't do this because I don't want the tape runner to hang onto the middle of the cloud, but because I'm going to pop in those pieces, it didn't matter. So that adhesive is going to get covered up anyway. So I just figured I might as well use the tape runner since it's fast and then I don't have to wait for it to dry. Okay, this is the new giant foam roll from Therm, and it is a white foam. They also have black foam, and I'm using that to pop up these clouds. So I am just placing the clouds that I sprayed with shimmer spray right inside the outline there, and then I popped up the unicorn and I adhered the sentiment with tape runner flat to the clouds, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of tape runner behind all those little stars and hearts to embellish around the clouds and the unicorn. I love this welcome to the world sentiment for a new baby card, and I love this color combination with those elements as well. For this next card, we're going to start with the Slimline Rainbow Die. Cuts a traditional slimline card and cuts all the little rainbow arcs in between. Those stay attached to the frame, but then it also cuts out the inside so that you have individual arcs. So what I did was I cut one out of white cardstock and then one out of 5 different colors of colorful cardstock so that I could do an easy die cut inlay. And the great thing about cutting something like this multiple times is you can start with a different color for each card and make multiple cards very similarly and quickly. So I am using the new Thermoweb Ultra Bond pen. It is a 1 ounce of Ultra Bond, which is my favorite liquid adhesive, and it is very easy to handle in that pen format. So you can see how easy it is to just put a little line of liquid adhesive and then find the piece of cardstock that fits into that arc and then just place it in there and then let it dry. So I love the look of colorful cardstock on white cardstock in the background. I think it just pops. This is just a really easy way to create a rainbow, and I love that it's slimline size. The next thing we're going to use is the Oversized Rainbow stamp set and dies, which I mentioned previously. Love all these sub-sentiments and how you get a stamp, and if you get the dies, you get a die that will cut out the scripty rainbow, or you can stamp the scripty rainbow. The benefit of having the stamp is that you can do rainbow stamping, which is one of my favorite things to do. Since this stamp is not very tall, but it is long, I'm going to move the rainbow from left to right. I'm using the same exact colors of ink that I used of the cardstock on the Slimline Rainbow die, which is a really nice benefit. If you have matching colors of cardstock and ink, you can make everything really matchy-matchy and fun. So this is really an easy technique to do, especially if you have cube-sized stamps. You can absolutely do it with an ink pad. You saw me wipe away some of the ink because it had gotten too far over. You can do that as well, but I find it really easy to do with the cubes. I cut out the die. That's the great thing about having the die too, is that you can cut out the shadow layer, whether you're using it with the die or with the stamp. And then I cut out a sentiment into a strip, a sub-sentiment that says sending you and I'm going to pop up the word rainbow. And then I decided to cut out some clouds out of white fun foam from that cloud outline die. I thought those would make fun embellishments on this card rather than digging into sequins or anything else. I thought I would use what I had here, and then I can keep those extra clouds in the back of the pocket and use them on a future card. And clouds is something that I will use over and over again. So I put the little sending you on one of the larger clouds, and I'm using the Ultra Bond pen to adhere the fun foam to the cardstock. So it is definitely a good liquid adhesive even for fun foam like that. I just love this card. I think it is so cute, and I love all these rainbows between the stamping and the die cutting. Okay, this was the die I was telling you about that was actually from last month's release, but I just had to have because I think it is so clever. This is the social phone die. There's 2 different phone faces that you can use. I'm using the one with kind of the buttons on the top. There's also one with a grid that would be really cute as well. And you see there's a bunch of dies included in this. I am going to use 3 of the cardstock colors that I had cut before, little scraps that I had, and I'm just going to hold them in place with some purple tape on the die so I can just cut out these 3 kind of buttons or little circles at the top. Again, I'm using that Ultra Bond because it is a nice thin tip that I can get all around this outline die. So the one die that has the little circles at the top also cuts out this little outline, cuts out this piece at the bottom here that's got all those little bits cut out from it. It's got the frame for those buttons at the top. So you can decide. I cut out the background in white. I wasn't really sure if I wanted black or white or how I wanted this to go. So just play around with different things, try some different things out and see what you like. Now I'm using some of those rainbow scraps that we had from before. This little square is kind of the screen. So I placed one down to see if I liked it, and I did. So then I'm going to put tape runner on the rest of the square, and I'm just going to line up the other colors that I used in the Slimline Rainbow card and just lay them on top of the adhesive that I've placed down on the entire square. And I'm just going to fill up and go in the order that I had gone in before and then flip it over and use nonstick scissors to cut off the excess there so that I can have a little rainbow arc on my screen. I had 2 more pieces that I needed to fill in, so I did the same exact thing, just put a little adhesive down, placed the arcs down on top, and then flipped it over and cut off the excess. And you can see that it's pretty easy to cover up the phone. There was this one tiny little white corner on the bottom and it was going to drive me crazy. So I decided to use a little bit of Ultra Bond this time. I want to really make sure that that little corner is completely covered in adhesive, and I wasn't sure I could do it with the tape runner without getting it on the rest of the screen. So now I'm holding this in place for like a good 20 seconds, 30 seconds to really make sure that it bonds and grips before I flip it over so it doesn't just fall right off, right? And then once I have it in place, I am holding it and then I cut the excess. But then look at that cute little screen. So I colored a little unicorn with a rainbow mane and tail to go along with this. I'm gonna glue the back of the screen into the phone. Now I'm gonna cut out from some Waffle Flower JJ's Rainbows pattern paper the outline of the rainbow word. I cut out the rainbow word itself out of black cardstock instead of stamping this time. I am gonna layer that right on top of that rainbow pattern paper, which it's so cute. Okay, for this eye dot, I'm gonna put the little liquid adhesive on the back. It's stuck in the die. So I put the little liquid adhesive on the back of it and then line up the die on the die cut. I've shown this before, but this is my favorite tip. And then put a paper piercer in through the hole and it just pops the little dot right in place. So I stamped a little sentiment that says, look up and you might just find a, and I thought this was perfect, especially for phones. I know sometimes I look around and I see everybody looking at their phone, and I know that I look at my phone too. So I hope this is a reminder for all of us to look up because we might just see that rainbow. Which of the products was your favorite this month? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to head over to my blog. I'll link it in the YouTube description box below the video because Waffle Flower always does a blog hop with giveaways. If you love rainbows, I decided to start an entire rainbow themed playlist, and all those videos will be linked over here. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.